So thank you very much. My piece, if you will, is called Ironic, Not Ironic, A Love Story. Thank you. Are you people familiar with irony? Irony? The let's say it together. The incongruity between the, come on, let's finish it, the intended meaning of things and the real, actual, perceived meaning of things. Yeah, irony. That's what my story is all about. If you're not clear on the concept of irony, maybe this little tutorial will help you. We're not getting audio. Oh, ironic. Not ironic. Ironic. Not ironic. Ironic. Not ironic. Ironic. Not ironic. Ironic. Elephant man. Not ironic. Real elephant man. Ironic. Not ironic. 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 Not ironic. It's the Pope. Ironic. Not ironic. Ironic. Thank you. So I had a bit of an ironic summer last summer. My girlfriend of 2.5 years, she broke up with me. And I know that's just like a common drama of everyday life, but we actually had a strong connection, which made it kind of a bit heartfelt, a bit difficult. Because a little bit about me, I'm sort of like not compatible with about 99% of humanity. Just to get you a little bit of me, I'm sort of a slightly creepy, self-imposed recluse loner who likes listening to jazz and watching lectures on linguistics. Where are you going to really find that on OK Cupid? I don't know. I always fear that I'm going to end up like one of those crazy ladies that lives in the house with all the cats, but without the cats. I'd just be living in a house, really. Are you familiar with these, the crazy ladies, the crazy cat ladies? If you're not familiar with this concept, here's a woman in Siberia. She lives in a house, a one-bedroom apartment with 140 cats. Here comes mommy. You're all my babies. You're all my babies. Here comes mommy. You're all my babies. And here's a little fun fact about the crazy ladies that live in the house with all the cats. If one of them happens to die and they don't find their body right away, their pets, their little beloved pets, oh, come here, little you, I'm pampering you. Their pets will end up eating them, as in eating them. Talk about an intrinsic thin line between love and hate. And I think that's such a great metaphor for a breakup, because when someone breaks up with you, the other person will consume your emotions like they were the rotting corpse of a dead, crazy cat lady. And once again, if you want to get a visual of that, here goes mommy. Here goes mommy. You're all my babies. You're all my babies. Please just don't eat my corpse. You're all my babies. You're all my babies. So like I said, I had a strong connection with my girlfriend. And when you have a strong connection with someone, it becomes like poker. You go all in. You push all your chips into the center. And you're either going to win the hand or be asked to leave the table. And after 2.5 years, I was asked to leave the table. And my girlfriend, she chose to break up with me while we're in the middle of a historic cemetery in Edinburgh, Scotland, which ironically is not a bad place to have a breakup. Because if there's hysterical crying on anyone's part, passing tourists will just simply think you're mourning the loss of your favorite obscure Scottish poet, William Topaz McGonagall. 1823 to 1902, if you want to Google him and find out more, which I think you do. Okay, well, this is what he looked like. This is the grave where displaced crying could take place in front of passing tourists. This is my ex-girlfriend. She performs in a feminist physical theater group based in Leeds, England. They do very serious plays about sex trafficking and rape. I thought I'd add a little ironic detachment by speeding up footage of one of her shows and adding the Benny Hill theme. Because when you're in love, it's the best feeling in the world. Because you want to know what being in love feels like to me? Being in love feels like being a lobster. Life is light, like you're floating underwater in a supermarket aquarium, dancing with your fellow lobsters in a celebration of crustacean magnification. Life is light when you're in love. Life is like being a lobster But little do you realize at any given moment, this can happen. But until you find that right person in your life, your soulmate, the one that you really connect with. Think back to that crazy cast of characters who enters and exits your life. Get a good mental picture of that, if you will. These are my ex-girlfriends of the last 7 years. My crazy cast of characters, ex-girlfriends of the last 7 years. So after I broke up with my girlfriend broke up with me, I moved to New York. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to become edgy. I'm going to date a stripper. Look at edgy Harmon. He's drinking whiskey and dating a stripper. I'm practically like Charles Bukowski. And don't you hate when someone else's craziness trumps your craziness? Because boom, my craziness got trumped because the stripper became a prostitute, as in prostitute. Not like a metaphor for a prostitute, but a real actual prostitute. Like the kind you see on TV shows like Law and Order, CSI Miami, or read about in such popular books as the Bible. And if you need proof that this actually happened, here she is on my answering machine. There we go. Thank you. But I think but it was the author Ernest Hemingway that said, "Write what hurts. Write what really, really hurts." And that's why I wrote this show, because I think that's where the best comedy comes from. It comes from a bit of pain attached to it. And I think my problems stem from maybe I'm a bit self-centered, maybe a bit shallow. Here's a good example. I will tell a woman I barely know I love her just to get her in bed. But yet, I have never said those exact same words to my own dad. Isn't that fucked up? How men in our society have trouble expressing our emotions? But all that's going to change beginning next week. I'm going to start hitting on my dad. Right with Ernest Hemingway, people. Ernest Hemingway. And that's why I decided after the breakup to write a show about my ex-girlfriend. I actually contacted her for my performance here tonight to ask her if she would read some of her heart-wrenching breakup emails. You know, the kind that really tear at your heartstrings. You know, the kind of emails? That's right. Surprisingly, she refused to do it. She actually just didn't even acknowledge that I had contacted her. So I did the next best thing. I took those heart-wrenching breakup emails. We've all gotten them. The kind that just really tear at your heartstrings. And I took them and I put them into a text-to-voice modulator that sounds like Dr. Stephen Hawking's voice. I thought that would be ironic, not ironic. To give you an example, this is what it sounds like in happier times.
Hi, baby. I am so horny at the moment. I need to feel you naked with me really soon.
And here's what a 2.5-year long relationship sounds like when it's completely over. Again, ironically, put through a text-to-voice modulator that sounds like Dr. Stephen Hawking's voice.
Babe, shall we just knock it on the head? I cannot see the point in me being your girlfriend when I live so far away. I don't think we should go out anymore. X.
1, 2, 3, 4. Stephen Hawking's not my girlfriend. Stephen Hawking's not my girlfriend. Stephen Hawking's not my girlfriend, etc., etc., etc. And this might seem superfluous, but it really does tie in nicely at the end. So I just want to point that out. So this is a place that's ironic. This is a place called Frankenstein's Pub. It's a pub in Edinburgh, Scotland. What happens is every midnight, Frankenstein comes out and he dances the Monster Mash. Very ironic. And this is actually where me and my ex-girlfriend, we actually went on our very first date. And we went there ironically. We were like, oh my God, I can't believe we're here. We're here ironically. There's an incongruity between the intended meaning of why we're here and the real actual perceived meaning of why we're here. And we actually had our very first kiss at midnight when Frankenstein came out and danced the Monster Mash. And there's nothing like the thrill of a first kiss because it tingles with possibility and potential, like you're about to partake in a journey to an uncharted land filled with mystery and intrigue. And for a brief moment, everything will be all right. And everything will be all right. But do you know how you make Frankenstein's Pub not ironic? Well, 2.5 years later, your girlfriend breaks up with you in front of William Topaz McGonagall's grave, 1823 to 1902. Once again, there he is. Once again, there's the grave where displaced crying takes place. Once again, here's my ex-girlfriend captured on my cell phone just a mere hour before breaking up with me in front of his grave. Again, I thought I'd add some ironic detachment by, again, speeding up the footage and, again, adding the Benny Hill theme. So anyways, your girlfriend breaks up with you in front of William Topaz McGonagall's grave, 1823 to 1902. And you proceed to get really drunk, and you have that bad, bitter breakup anger. And like a lemming, you're driven back alone to Frankenstein's Pub. You don't know why you're there, but you're there. You're just trying to grasp hold of something that's greatly slipping through your fingers. And you sit there with your bad, bitter breakup anger, drinking alone at the bar amongst a sea of happy tourists with their happy tourist faces and their happy tourist words coming out of their happy tourist head holes. And the irony is, you secretly wish you had an ounce of what they have, the moderate head injury happiness, where you'd metaphorically be eating pudding all day long. And you sit there drinking alone, and not only do you think about your ex-girlfriend, but you think about all the girls in your life over the last 10 years, the whole crazy cast of characters. And then again, you think about the one who is in a separate category than all the others, the one who all breakups remind you of, the one you never talk about. This amazing photographer who, like her photos, was full of beauty and symmetry, with this unique viewpoint of the world, filled with this great sense of humor, and also touched with a little bit of sadness. Like, look at this Christmas tree. Does it look so sad and alone in the world? Or that chair? Or maybe that's what she felt like, alone in the world, like that chair. Because sometimes the greatest lights extinguish themselves early, and you're left wondering who killed Smile Time. And with thoughts like this, I always think of my favorite obscure Scottish poet, William Topaz McGonagall. Before then I see this, and then it sends me over the top. And I think of my greatest obscure Scottish poet, William Topaz McGonagall. And the reason I have an affinity for William Topaz McGonagall is he had the notoriety of being the worst poet in Scottish history. And what they said about McGonagall back in the day was he was so giftedly bad, he unwittingly backed into genius. And I think that's what all bad relationships like. They can be so giftedly bad, but there's moments where they unwittingly back into genius. And we'll just skip that one. And we're on the home stretch, people. But this song by The Who is ironic. Originally, they wanted a cello section to come in at the beginning, and they couldn't afford a cello section, so when the band started chanting cello, 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 and through irony, they actually made it a much better song. But I think the grand irony of life is that we crave solitude, but want those people around for those lonely moments, like Valentine's Day, which makes you feel so great if you're in love, or makes you masturbate bitterly with a barrel of a gun in your mouth if you're not, metaphorically speaking, of course. In the insect world, the queen bee will actually bite off the head of the male after sex and feed it to her babies. And when my girlfriend broke up with me, all I could think of is, well, at least he's got somebody. Conversely, a bear has the ability to go down on himself. But the irony is that we break up with people and they break up with us, and that's the great equilibrium of life. And we should embrace this crazy cast of characters who enters and exits our lives and take their best qualities and make them permanent qualities of ourselves, like the way they smile, or funny things they say, or how they share biscuits with the elderly. And I know I'm not a perfect person, but I forgive all the women in my life. I just hope in turn that they will in turn forgive me. See, it ties in nicely at the end. Really, it does. You had the build-up. It really does tie in nicely at the end. But whatever it is, your metaphorical Frankenstein's Pub, may it always stay ironic instead of not ironic. And may you eternally be dancing the Monster Mash deep in your heart and in your soul. You're all forgiven.